Hey everyone, welcome to Infinite Binge. We are talking about Westworld Season 1, Episode 9, The Well-Tempered Clavier. I am Jake, and who else is here?
Kevin.
And Andrew.
In this episode, Dolores and Bernard reconnect with their past. Maeve makes a bold proposition to Hector, and Teddy finds enlightenment at a price.
So we got an answer to something we had discussed on like 2 or 3 episodes. Apparently, it was Ford playing the wife the whole time
Yeah?
in Bernard's video calls.
Oh, right.
So he's like a Twitch streamer with one of those CG dog faces that gets put over him. But instead of a CG dog, it's the lady from Firefly?
Firefly, yeah.
Yep.
The former Mrs. Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes.
She was also in Suits.
She's also Ikora Ray in Destiny.
Oh, that's true.
I think she
But
was
yeah.
in a Cleopatra show on Sci-Fi.
No, okay,
Gina
nobody cares
Torres,
about these.
Gina Torres is a great actress.
But yeah, that all came in that scene. Pretty great scene.
Yeah.
With Bernard and Ford in the basement, and Bernard's like, "No, make me remember everything."
There's also that scene like right before that with Bernard and Maeve.
Yes.
When Maeve like told him, "Hey, you're a robot."
Yeah, how did she know so quick? I guess because they like boosted her stats. She was
Yeah.
able to figure it out like instantly.
Like they maxed out her perception and intelligence, right?
Yeah. Which this whole thing, like the way it goes so poorly for Bernard here, I kind of want to call Bernard shitty Maeve now.
He should have boosted his stats.
Yeah, just bump him up, give him, I roll 20s, man.
Well, I don't know if it's shitty Maeve because the difference between him and Maeve is that because he thinks he was human, he has almost a better understanding of things, or he has just more of a confused understanding, I guess. He's more torn.
Well, that, and I think Maeve has gone up against him and then these two dumbass techs, whereas
that's true.
Bernard went up against Ford, so that's kind of it's not an apt perception, or not perception. It's not an apt comparison, but it's one of those things. It's just it looks like everything goes so wrong for Bernard.
Yeah, it made it look like he had actually outsmarted Ford for most of the episode. Like when he brought in the other robot with the gun that had the safety protocols like turned off so she could shoot him. But she couldn't shoot him.
Yeah. You do feel pretty bad for Bernard too. And like once kind of everything hits him too, because it's like, once he realizes and he's like, well, what about my son? And he's like, oh, that's my keystone memory that like my personality is based off of. Like, just kind of keeps getting worse and worse.
So that wasn't based on Arnold, right?
No, it was.
It was?
Was it?
I gotta assume so. Because they have Arnold have the book. So you gotta imagine that was Arnold's. Like Arnold lost his son, that's why he poured himself into the machine so much.
Or he just liked robots.
Nah, I'm pretty sure Arnold also, because the whole book thing too, like the connection with
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland, thank you. I'm pretty sure he lost his kid.
Yeah, that whole. There's just so much going on between Bernard and Ford in this episode that it's kind of easy to sort of think that maybe this was the only thing that was going on in this episode. But there was
a lot more.
There was a lot of other stuff. But I think that was definitely one of those. You talk about keystone memories. That's like a keystone piece of this episode.
Yeah, and it's very much kind of how, at least what I thought, when there was the scene between Man in Black and Ford, and you were like, man, I could watch these two go back and forth for a while. I could watch Bernard and Ford go back for like hours on end.
Yeah, but you almost feel like if it went on for much longer. I realize you mean like the two actors, seeing Jeffrey Wright and Anthony Hopkins just sit there and go back and forth off of each other. But I have a feeling that like if like with the Man in Black and Ford, I feel like they're almost on equal footing in a certain way, because as far as we're aware, they're both human. But if it went on for very long between Ford and Bernard, especially at this point, you'd almost feel like Ford was just messing with Bernard.
He kind of was.
Yeah.
Because the whole time he was like, Bernard was wrong about everything. Like he was saying that Arnold actually made him. So he was like trying to find the memory of him meeting Arnold, but he never did because Arnold didn't make him.
Because you find out he's a copy of Arnold.
But it makes you wonder, though, because he was saying that he sees Arnold's code in him. So maybe, I guess, Arnold just did the basic programming for all the robots are based on?
I mean, yeah, they both worked on it, and it's clear, or they make it clear that kind of Arnold was, for the coding purposes, he did more work than Ford. Ford just happened to pick up the pieces after he killed himself.
Yeah, it's implied that Arnold was better at it.
Like a lot better.
Yeah. What they say at one point, like, Arnold did 75% and Ford was like 25% or something.
Well, I think that was specifically on like the cognitive end of like the artificial intelligence end of it. And I kind of liked how they explained how the sort of the programming and the backstory and of everything that they give the hosts, and how that all plays out as like an inner monologue as a way to sort of bootstrap consciousness. Like I thought that was like really interesting, because you think about that, kind of makes you question how you think and how you perceive your own consciousness as well. Because I don't know about you, but I've got inner monologue going on like all the time.
Maybe we're all robots.
Maybe we're all robots. Organic-ish robots.
But moving away from the Bernard and Ford stuff, there was some other cool stuff that happened in this episode. Like, there was the scene with Dolores and William and, what's his name, Logan?
Oh, the quote-unquote brother-in-law.
Yeah, and he was saying, well, what, you want to take her out of the park with us? And then she's like, what makes you think I want to leave? If your world is so great, why do you keep coming here?
Yeah, that was kind of great, because it also kind of highlights sort of the arrogance of humans, I guess, that somehow they understand what someone would want. And like Dolores is not having any of it.
Yeah.
In that same scene too, they also show the picture that kind of started the whole thing.
Yeah, from the first episode?
Yeah, but they show it before it gets kind of buried and all dusty and everything.
Yeah, it was William's photo.
Yep. So I don't know if I caught that the first time around.
Oh, I felt like that was really easy to pick up.
I think I did, but it's just been so long, you know?
Sure.
It was in this scene that Dolores got stabbed too, right?
Yeah, and they showed the robot internals.
Yeah. But then she got a gun and started shooting all the other robots.
Then she kind of like ran off into the desert.
And then magically her stab wound was gone. And her clothing kept switching, like it kept switching what she was wearing. I think this is the episode where it got the most obvious that she was reliving memories.
Yeah. And that Man in Black was William.
Yeah, like two back-to-back, like Einhorn-Finkel moments.
Well, they also have, right after they all go to bed and stuff, William starts to definitely turn into the Man in Black as he chops up like every robot.
Yeah. Well, he lets Logan go to sleep, and then while he's sleeping, he just murders the whole village.
Like a few dozen or a couple dozen.
Yeah.
At least like like to the point, like not just like, hey, I'm stabbing all these until they die, like hacking off legs and arms and stuff.
Yeah, there was dismemberment going on.
It's kind of like messed up. He was busy. It's like, This is the crazy alternate reality version of While You Were Sleeping.
There was also a scene with the Man in Black, and I guess Teddy, where Teddy gets killed.
Yes.
But in his death, it's William. Well, I guess the Man in Black finds out where he needs to go next. And then right after that, the lady from the board shows up, right?
Tessa Thompson. I can never remember her character's name.
It's Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, it is, but I'm trying to remember that. I don't remember the character's name.
She was in Veronica Mars. But he votes to push Ford out. That's what she wanted. She went there to talk to him about that, and so I thought that was interesting that he just does not care at all about Ford.
He's got to find the maze.
To find the center of the maze.
It is kind of funny, that scene though, where he's dressing up, playing pretend to a degree, and she just walks out in like her actual like business attire, like trying to be all professional. He's like, "Yeah, I don't care. Let me play my game.
Yeah, this is my vacation.
Just leave me alone. Do whatever you want."
And I don't remember if it had been like explicitly stated before that the Man in Black is on the board.
It was hinted at that he was a major contributor, I think, or that he was just a big player.
Yeah. So I guess it's not entirely shocking or surprising or anything,
but yeah, it's just confirmation of
I mean, yeah, like the conversation he had with Ford in that earlier episode, it kind of implied that he was a big shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, even when not Chris or Liam Hemsworth, the
third Hemsworth gets captured.
Or when he's that does happen. But I'm thinking more of earlier in the series when the Man in Black just starts killing a whole bunch of stuff, and they're like, "Well, do we want to send someone to slow him down?" He's like, "No, that guest gets what he wants." I think that's like one of the first really big hints that it's like he keeps getting like he's more and more of a big shot as everything goes on. Like by the end of the series, I expect that we're going to find out like he's the richest man in the world or something.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. There was also a scene with Maeve when she is trying to convince, I can't remember the character's name.
Hector Escaton, I think.
Yes, trying to convince him to join her and help her. But she could just reprogram and force him to do whatever she wants, but she doesn't want to. I thought that was interesting.
Well, it's kind of like anytime you hear about or you think about like if you want change to happen, you can't have someone else do it for you. You have to want it, or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, I wonder if it comes down to the full. It's like she has sort of the base philosophy that if I make these other hosts do this, then am I essentially no better than the people running the park?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Good, I just came up with that. I'm sure someone else has said it somewhere.
There was one last thing in my notes that I wanted to just ask. Like, it was revealed that Dolores killed Arnold at the end of this episode. Why is she still active? Shouldn't she have been retired?
That's a good point. And it could be down to that they felt like they were able to have her like wiped to such a degree.
Maybe, I don't know.
And I mean, he could have like programmed her to do it as well. So they could have been like one of those like because she's a robot, she didn't choose to kill him. Arnold made her, or at least maybe that's what they might have thought.
I don't know. It just seems weird that they would keep her active, even if they could wipe her and everything. Do you think they would have just... No, this one killed one of the people that created this whole thing. Wouldn't they have retired her?
Well, it could be one of those things too, where kind of the way, kind of the way Ford is, he might have wanted to just keep her as somewhat of a reminder. of what not to do, how not to be, what not to let things become.
He keeps that old cowboy down in the thing as a reminder. He goes down and talks with him once in a while.
Well, the show kind of, goes on to show about him, is he keeps things close to, keeps his cards close to his chest. Like, he contradicts himself pretty frequently, it seems, where he says, don't do this, don't do that. But at the same time, he goes around doing this or that he says not to do.
Yeah.
So, I would think that was his decision for, in my mind, it would be, like I said, as a reminder. And then over the past 30 years, things would have changed and, it all leads to what happens in the finale. But that's just what I see out of it.
Well, it could also be, like, I feel like I vaguely recall something of, like, someone saying something to the effect of that Arnold had essentially killed himself.
Well, that was the official story.
Right, okay. Right.
Because, if the story was, hey, one of our robots killed him, the place would never have opened,
Okay, so, but here's the thing. So if they have to rework everything, because it seems like there's so much of everything that is centered around Dolores, that if they have to completely rework that, then it's like, well, why do you have to rework this? Well, it's something that could present more questions that they weren't entirely comfortable or willing to delve into.
Is there anything else you guys want to bring up?
Yeah, ready for the last episode and ready for
season 2.
Was ready for season 2.
All right, I'm going to wrap up. Thanks for listening. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave some comments, do all that good stuff. Also, listen to the Manga Machinations, the Geek Box, and Comic Conspiracy. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.